Some controversy in the Algorand community around the Folks Finance Black Card. Folks Finance has addressed this. We are going to dive into their response today, along with Algorand dropping its roadmap this week, and we are going to be live streaming that, so we're going to give a brief shout out to that. Fractal Monsters TCG is now live in open beta. You can get it on multiple platforms, and we will check that out. Vestige Labs adding an on-chain token info option. We'll dive more into that news. But the big news is Folks Finance addressing the controversy around the Black Card. I think they had a pretty reasonable response. We'll see what you guys have to think. We'll dive into that all on today's Frugal BC. By the way, if you like this stuff, please hit that like and subscribe button. Now remember, you don't have to smash it. You can just press it gently. Works just fine that way too. And as always, we are brought to you by non-fungible domains. That's right. Get that .algo address for your very self. Makes doing everything in Algorand so much easier. Mine's frugalbc.algo. I love it. It just makes doing everything in Algorand way easier than remembering all those complicated letters and numbers. I'm just never going to remember any of that. So check them out in the description below, non-fungible domains. And we are brought to you by Marcus Aurelius, a meme coin and NFT project on the Algorand blockchain. These guys are spreading this wisdom of Stoicism, which I think is cool. It's been a really important part of my life. Stoicism has helped me through some tough times and helps me through the good times too, I should say. I got some really cool stuff. Just had a chat with Marcus this morning. Some really cool stuff on the docket, so keep an eye out for that. Marcus Aurelius worked his way into the top 10, by the way, on Vestige, which is nice to see. So that is a growing project. Happy to have both of our sponsors. We also have channel memberships starting at only $1, so check that out in the description below, plus exclusive videos for higher tiers. But let's get to today's news, starting with Nyla bringing the Solana and Algorand communities together, which I think is really cool. I covered this on the live stream last week, but we're going to dive into this a little more. There's a little bit to listen to, so let's give it a listen.
Hello, what's going on? I'm a little late to the space, but definitely always want to come through, so show some support. If I missed, I'm pretty much up to speed, but if I know you all was going to wrap up soon, if there was a quick rundown of the updates that I possibly had missed, I would appreciate that. And I do also wanted to say Para Wallet, Algorand, it's fast. Affordable as far as gas fees, and it worked. it worked. So
it works, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the key element right there. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. What I think is cool about the Nyla project, it's on Ethereum, Solana, and Algorand, and a lot of Solana users come into Algorand and Parawallet and getting a view of how well it works. Now, for a brief overview of this project, because some of you might not have seen the live stream, Nyla is an agent that is operating on 3 different chains, and it allows you to send crypto to people via their X address. So a few people have already sent me crypto through this. It's kind of cool. And you just do it right through X. You just make a command in X and it sends it their way. It gets hosted on a wallet on their platform. And you can do that. You do that by tweeting your command basically to tell Nyla what to do. I think it's a really cool project and I like seeing this collaboration here. So big shout out to Nyla. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Some big news coming later this week. Algorand dropping its roadmap. We've been waiting for this for a while, but here it is. And that's right, this news is going to come on July 31st, which they probably should have put the time in there, but yes, it's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I made a huge error thinking it was Central Time, so I am going to be live streaming their live stream. I'm going to be live streaming it myself on Frugal BC right here, and I'm probably going to have my computer on and ready to go. I'll probably be hitting it. I don't know if I'll be able to get too much earlier ahead of the live stream. I hope they actually hope they start a little later. That would help me out a lot, but it is coming. I don't know why you wouldn't put your live stream here right away, but yeah, at least someone asked, and there it is. It's noon Eastern Standard Time, which is when we will be live, and we'll probably stick around a little longer and chat about it. I might have to try to get some lunch in there at some point, but we'll definitely be covering it. Now, what is it going to have? We don't know. A lot of speculation. Some are saying peer-to-peer gossip will be live. Maybe that's part of it, but there's been a lot of talks with VCs, and we had a picture of some of the folks, including Mark at Google earlier this week. So a lot of speculation going on, but I guess we'll find out the details on Thursday. Now they're really pushing the roadmap. So when you do that, as you know, you got to have something good. You got to bring the goods. If you don't, people are going to be disappointed if it's kind of a nothing burger. So I'm hoping they pack the goods there, because they're going to need it. You just can't promote something like that and not have it be huge. So again, make sure you tune in at noon Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, 2 days from when I'm recording this, and we will be live with the roadmap, and we'll have some commentary afterwards. Some of you guys probably saw my Fractal Monsters TCG early review, and that was a sponsored video by Fractal Monsters. I have to say the game is super fun, so I was glad to be able to have an early chance to play it. It is now live in open beta, so here's how you can get it. This is right from Fractal Monsters TCG. Now, if you're a fan of card games, you're going to want to pay attention to this. If you like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, or there's a bunch of new ones now. There's a One Piece card game I learned, and boy, I'm trying to talk myself out of buying a bunch of cards I probably don't need. But this has, player versus solo, tournament battles, monster-based deck building, daily, weekly missions, 270 plus unique cards. I will say it's a lot of fun to play. If you like these kind of games, you'll like it. And you can get it on Google Play, iOS, Mac, Steam, right in the Steam. That's probably where I'm going to get mine. Just a note, though, no Web3 functionality exists in the Steam version. If you want Web3 features, you can log in to your account on versions outside of Steam. So actually, maybe I won't get it on Steam. I did wishlist it, just to help support them. But yeah, maybe I'll download the new version for. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know about the PC version. Is Google Play the PC version? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's coming out live, so it's live now. So go play it. It's a fun game. I think you'll like it. And yeah, I mean, you could say, hey, it doesn't really bring much new to the table, but it's kind of a chance to get on sort of the ground floor of one of these types of games versus if you start Magic today, you're kind of behind the 8 ball. A lot of people have been playing that for a long time. Same with Hearthstone or any of those other kind of games. So something to keep in mind. And this news from Vestige Lab is kind of cool. Basically allowing token issuers to add detailed information about their token and have it minted on chain. Let's take a look at this. All right, so right from Vestige Labs says, new release, asset creators can now add detailed information directly on chain. This solves one of the biggest pain points Algorand creators have been facing. Read more. This product was created by a recent hire and excellent developer, Satish Yadlapali. Read about it here. Solving Algorand's tokens metadata puzzle, how we built a decentralized solution for token information. So if you want to read all about this, why this mattered for real users, for token holders, you couldn't easily verify if that team wallet really belonged to the project or if those tokens were actually burned. For token creators, updating your project's information meant reaching out to multiple platforms, waiting for manual reviews, and hoping nothing got lost in the process. Even worse, you had to manage different accounts and processes for each service. For developers, building reliable DeFi applications became a nightmare when you couldn't trust the metadata or calculate accurate circulating supply. So some of the real reasons why they were doing this, and you can go into the whole, if you want to check that out, you can go into the whole reason why they did all this. And I think it's pretty interesting just seeing some cool updates for Vestige. I like their charts. Their Explore page is really good for seeing all the tokens and seeing how they're doing. Last but not least, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Folks Finance releasing their Black Card. Now, they did a silver, gold, and Black Card mint as an NFT. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to do exactly. I didn't really get a lot of explanation on that, but the Black Card was specifically for Algorand users. They also had AVAX and EVM cards, but some people not happy because they released only 400 of them, and they allowed five mints per wallet. So a lot of folks, OGs, got left out of the Black Card, and they were pretty upset about it. And I say this as I didn't have any interest in this Black Card. I didn't try to get one. So I really didn't have a lot of skin in this game. But just covering the controversy, I think it's worth addressing. And Ibu, who is the CMO from Folks Finance, actually does address this controversy and says kind of what their thinking was. So I think it's worth giving it a listen here.
It's Ibu here, CMO of Folks Finance, to share some thoughts on the Black Founders Pass mint on Friday. We released the Black Founders Passes on Algorand. and they sold out like right away. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who participated in that. Now I understand there's been a lot of bad feelings about the way that we did the mint, namely the fact that we allowed people to mint up to 5 at a time.
Yeah, people were really upset about this, and I can kind of understand it when you only have 400 of these, so there's a very limited supply. I mean, I think you're going to get more than 80 people who want this thing. They had 1,000 people whitelisted, as we'll see later, so I think it's a mistake, but I think he acknowledges that as well.
I'll definitely say that after seeing what happened, we should have limited it to 1. But let me give a little context on why we decided to put it at 5. So back in May, we released a whitelist sign up, and we got about 30,000 applications there. On the whitelist, we allowed people to specify which chain they wanted to get the NFT on. In that whitelist sign up, we had the most amount of signups from Base, which was like over 20,000. And then we actually had just about 1,000 from Algorand. Now, we understand, folks, that the majority of our TVL is on Algorand, but we actually have way more users on the EVM chains.
I think that's really interesting, by the way. I think that says a lot that users are still kind of an issue on Algorand. I think it's been improving, but it's also interesting that their highest TVL is on Algorand, probably because people have just been using it longer, perhaps, and they put more on it. But I think those are very interesting metrics. And if you want to know why a lot of these projects are going to other chains, it's because there's more users, and that's just going to keep being the case. What I like about what folks did, I like that they just made it for everybody. They kept all the Algorand stuff. They didn't say, oh, we built on Algorand, thanks for all the money, and now we're going to this other chain like some other projects did. They kept, they kept supporting the Algorand users. I know people are upset about the Black Card, but overall, I mean, it's still available for Algorand, and they took that and expanded it to other chains, and I think that's the way to do it for sure.
One of the challenges of being a cross-chain product is that you have to do marketing in multiple ecosystems, which is something that's not necessarily easily done in crypto, because every ecosystem, every chain has its own culture. So we decided the biggest allocation of NFT should go to Base, but those will be the silver tier. The middle should go to Avalanche, those will be the gold tier, and the highest tier will go to Algorand, where our OG users are, but has the smallest amount of users. To counterbalance that, what we also did was we whitelisted all the people who were eligible for Black for the gold and silver as well. When we released the silver, we had it as a limit of 1 per whitelist. After the whitelist period ended, we decided to open up for unlimited minting. We were selling 1,500 silvers. The gold, we had it as unlimited. On Algorand, we thought, okay, there will be more demand here. So we decided, okay, we're not going to do unlimited. We're going to limit it to 5. The demand blew us away. And I understand that a lot of people who are OG folks users wanted to get in on that. That makes sense. And I'm honestly sorry that you guys weren't able to grab them. But however, the NFTs were something that we wanted to do to onboard people and get new users into folks. And part of that was cross-pollination of our communities. I would have been more happy to have everybody have a chance to mint 1. At the same time, there was good opportunity to mint silver and gold, and if people chose to not do that, it's totally up to that person, but there was definitely a lot of opportunity there.
Well, I think that's probably because the Algorand people were going to wait for the Algorand version. I mean, that seems pretty obvious. I don't think a lot of them, I'm sure they didn't expect to be left out. I think if they had known that, maybe they would have worked on getting the base version or the AVAX version. I say Ethereum before, I meant AVAX. Yeah, so maybe I don't really like that argument, I'll be honest. I think the Algorand people wanted the Algorand version, and considering the demand, because right now, like, people bought them knowing that it'd only be 1 of 400, so I don't know if you can go open up another mint without ticking off the people who bought it. It's tricky territory for sure, but yeah, I think limiting more than 5 per person. And if you didn't sell them, then you could open up again. You could say, well, we still got them available. So I appreciate his explanation for sure.
In the future, we'll definitely keep this in mind and make sure that there's like a good chance for everybody. We really appreciate you guys, and again, stick with us. We're on this journey, and I think we're going in the right direction, even if there's some things that happen here and there. So thank you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, so I'll let you guys weigh in on the comments about what you think. Do you think that's a reasonable explanation? Do you think it's a huge mistake? I think they acknowledged it was a mistake in retrospect, but the question is, was it a mistake? You know, what action would you have taken beforehand? I think his explanation is pretty reasonable, but I still think if you're only going to have 400 of them and you had 1,000 whitelisted, I think one per person would have made a lot more sense, frankly, especially since they're your power users. Like you said, the most TVL comes from Algorand. So, well, you know, people make mistakes. I don't think this stuff is easy to do. And so I think that's a reasonable explanation. I think we could critique it a little bit. I Am Digital did make a good point. I just want to point out quickly, he said, honestly, I'm having trouble with the last bit. You wanted the NFTs to help onboard new users, but you whitelisted a bunch of existing users who bought them up instantly. He says in base and AVAX, that was the case, but not in Algo. Algo were probably bought by all the OGs, which meant, like I said, I think this stuff can be really tricky to navigate, but I give him credit for at least coming out and acknowledging that it probably was a mistake. I think it's absolutely reasonable to give explanations of why you did what you did, and well, I guess we can all take it from there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, I'm Frugal BC. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the future.